Hey, what's happening? And welcome to the Hapatarians show. We're still doing this. Just don't forget to wear your mask, especially indoors, because you never know what's inside. Apparently,
I'm sorry, but I'm looking at. So for anyone who's listening, you can't see us, but we're wearing masks right now because we got to stay safe and all that.
Yeah.
But his mask is pink, and then whenever you talk, it looks like a vagina. Anyway,
Man,
can't
it's crazy
breathe.
how hot your breath is when you're wearing those things. You're just like,
Wait,
it's all over your
it to
face.
be cold?
Well, no, but it's just I don't know. It's crazy how you just smell your own breath all day. You're just like, man, like I guess we're just wear the mask and smell your own beautiful, lovely breath all day, every day. Anyway, so again, thanks for joining us. Thank you for watching, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, this is great. Good intro. Okay. Anyway,
the reason why we're doing that type of intro with the mask is because it's an anniversary right now. It's
just
the
about
third year anniversary.
It's kind of a random, third year, okay.
Of when the world just shut down.
Yeah, so like it wasn't really. I mean, it was on my mind, but it wasn't like I don't know what the word is, but like steadfast on. Oh yeah, it is kind of that is around this time when it happened.
I only remember it because I always remember that it was right before my birthday, so we couldn't go out for my birthday that year.
Yeah,
we had to go get takeout.
Yeah. So the whole reason that we're doing this, all kidding aside, is that I saw a tweet from Pete Quinones. He actually tweeted something that, again, I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize it was already that while ago. And so his tweet was, this weekend 3 years ago was probably the last weekend of what I refer to as the before times. And then I saw a typo who was in Biting the Bullet.
Podcast.
He quoted that and said, "I was naive to what was about to happen, refused to believe the American people would put up with it. I was drastically wrong." And so I replied to that tweet basically saying that we had talked about it before
the lockdowns.
Yeah, and I think
we were one of the first people to talk about it, like in like the Liberty circles or whatever, because basically we had been following. So if anyone knows ADV China, so there's Matt and Winston, and they hold a podcast together. Well, it's like a video podcast, but anyway, they cover mostly like news about China and stuff like that. So obviously we were kind of looped in that way because it started in China.
Yeah. So that's where we had heard about it, and so we talked about it, kind of just whatever we knew at that point in time. Which I mean, it wasn't.
I don't even remember.
It wasn't even a whole lot. Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna watch that video and we're just gonna react to see
how wrong we were, or how naive we were, or were we right? Possibly. I don't remember because I
have been right on some things, but I'm sure we were wrong on a lot. I mean, a lot of people were, they were naive to think, like Typo said. I mean, I don't think the American people are just gonna wear a mask. I mean, I don't know. But apparently, a lot of people are like, oh shit, this is my time to shine. This is my time to start telling people what to do. All right, I got some power now. Woo woo. This is great.
I think we should just get right into it because I'm interested to see what we talked about, because I honestly don't remember anything about this podcast. So.
Yeah, and this was released in
it's February.
It was in January.
Was it January?
It was the end of January of 2020. Yeah.
The end of 2020? You mean the beginning? I mean
the beginning of 2020. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, getting my my times mixed up. Anyway, so make sure it's not muted, because obviously you're not gonna be able to hear it if it's muted. All right, here we go.
Wow.
We're gonna talk about the big news that's been going on for the past.
Oh my gosh, we look so young.
Week or so, I think it's been.
It's been
we're
around for more than a month, but it hasn't been
you're right.
in the public eye until the last week.
Yeah. So
We're going to be talking about the coronavirus.
Wait, you don't have to share that right now because that's
No?
later.
Okay. But
Sure, what?
yeah, so it's been, like she said, it's been kind of a thing for about a month, but I think it's really the past week or so has really been kind of been pushed out,
Like media outlets are starting to report on it.
I think also because there's been reports of cases here in the U.S.
Probably.
So that's probably one of the reasons why they're talking about it more. Oh shit, it's here. I guess we gotta start talking about it. Yeah, it's in China. Yeah, fuck that, whatever. Oh god, it's here in America. I guess we better start talking about it.
Well, to be fair, the CCP didn't really they didn't make a statement or anything about it being a problem. They were like, no, everything's fine, nothing's going on here.
Yeah, that it's weird because we've been seeing some people reporting on it or kind of giving their opinion, and it's all about, they could care less about well, they couldn't care less actually, because it's like bottom of the barrel when they kind of talk about this type of stuff, but
spit it out.
They'd rather save face and say, kind of make themselves, because this whole thing makes them look bad, like the government there in China.
Well, the way they're handling it makes them look worse.
Yeah, and it's funny because they'd rather see a bunch of people die than, oh shit, this government agency is bad or something. They'd rather have the death.
Here, can you pause that?
Some smear.
Good pausing.
Good pausing.
I don't know. I think this has nothing to do with the episode, but I just remember that wall that we had.
Oh yeah.
And every time I was sitting there, right above my head, it said Russia and China.
Yeah, Russia, China, because Russia's like a really big, for those who aren't watching, this wall, this little like thin foldable wall that you can make sections or whatever. But
make sections.
That
sounded weird.
It's like a divider or whatever it is. And so there's Russia's right above it. I don't know, for some reason they decided to put Russia in really big bold letters.
Well, the funny part is you're covering the entire United States, so it just says Canada above you. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Or some negativity on their agency or whatever.
We need to get to the point.
I know.
Yeah. So I guess we should start talking about what it is.
Yeah.
So
you think
what it is?
Reports have been told.
Mm-hmm.
I can't talk. Okay.
Reports have been told. Yeah.
Reports have been told is not a right sentence. Okay.
There have been reports.
Yeah, that it's
like one thing hasn't changed.
Right. Yeah, we still can't talk.
And you can contract it through, I guess, just the normal ways, coughing, sneezing, through the air. But also through your eyes.
So it kind of feels like the flu, basically, right? Somewhat.
Probably worse than that. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, remember?
You know what's funny? They were saying you can't compare it to the flu. This is totally different, blah, blah, blah.
But
actually, it is kind of like
that was literally how,
Yeah, it turns out it is kind of actually like the flu. And then actually, when we had Delta, it was kind of weird. Because we had the Delta variant first. We finally got sick in 2021.
That one was definitely.
And that was bad.
That was pretty.
There was some weird side effects from that. I was dizzy for 3 weeks, and then we lost our taste and smell for a month. And then I don't know, it was a little bit different than having the flu or a cold or whatever. But then the second time we had COVID, which was actually 2 months ago, we had Omicron, and that was basically just like a cold.
It was not as bad as that first time. That first time it was it knocked me out of my ass. I standing up and walking felt like an absolute chore.
Okay, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
When we were filming this, did you think, oh yeah, I'm at some point I'm gonna get COVID? Actually, they weren't even calling it COVID at the time. They were calling it coronavirus.
Yeah.
But did that go through your mind that you think oh yeah, I might get this?
I mean, I didn't really think about it. It wasn't oh man, I might get this. Oh, the world's over.
To me, it was dead. For me, it was such a distant thing. Other people are getting it, but I'm not gonna get it.
Yeah, I think, and a lot of people probably thought that too. So if I stay healthy, I'm gonna be all right.
Anyway.
But you can contract it through your eyes. So if somebody, a particle of spit were to land in your eye, then that's it. So the way
you can get through your eye too,
masks and something over your eyes to protect your eyes. And the outbreak started in Wuhan, and since the government didn't make it a national emergency, or like they didn't quarantine right away, nobody was on the street wearing masks or anything to protect their eyes because they basically said, well, no, just enjoy your, the Lunar New Year festival, and nothing's going on here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of saying what I was saying before about the bad publicity is like the worst thing possible that can happen. It's like, oh, there's this big thing that's happening. People are dying, people are getting sick, whatever. But I guess, and I think I saw some, I can't remember where it was exactly, but they were saying, oh, there people die in America from the flu all the time, but not here in China. We're good, we're perfect, and all that stuff. It's just it's kind of creepy how they talk like that, like they don't,
It's funny how for the most part, as of right now, we're just talking shit about how the Chinese government was handling this. We're like, oh, the Chinese government is terrible.
You know what's funny about that? Little did we know, the government's going to handle it pretty bad.
They're gonna.
I mean, not as bad as China. I'll give them that. But anyway.
I mean,
if you see people on the street that's dead, oh, that's just, I don't know, they're just pretending, I suppose, or something.
You know what?
Yeah, there's been a lot of
Sorry, we just paused, but wasn't that weird in the beginning that there was all these footages of going around on the internet of dead bodies being pulled out everywhere and stuff? And when you think about what COVID actually is, that didn't happen in the United States.
Not that I can remember.
Sure, people passed away on ventilators or whatever in hospitals, but people weren't dropping dead in the street.
Can you imagine what was happening? If it, he was walking just every day to see some random bodies just lying around on the ground. What is this?
I don't know. It just seemed very weird. Now I wonder if it was propaganda.
I don't know.
Videos surfacing on social media of people being taken away in bubble bags, quarantine bags. Yeah, and it's really creepy.
Mm-hmm. So is it basically the virus? It's basically like you said, because I said it was like the flu, or is it kind of like the flu? And you said it's a lot worse. So it's like pneumonia. So is it basically an even worse version of pneumonia then?
I'm not exactly sure, but I know that. I mean, obviously, if you're older or if you're pretty young, then it would be easier to.
I was right about that.
To die, basically.
Right.
I guess. Yeah. So they have reported 56 deaths so far.
That's crazy.
Really early.
There's all this cover up about it. There has been kind of speculation that it's probably worse than that, because one of the things that happens there is they don't report deaths if they die at home, because they're at home.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, it's kind of that you're supposed to take care of your family, so they would send you home, and then but then if you die in your sleep, then it's oh, they were just old and they died in their sleep, they couldn't handle it or whatever.
Yeah.
So
ironically, then when COVID was worldwide, then they were counting COVID deaths even for things that they didn't die from COVID. So it's kind of the opposite of what I was saying here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they would count that as part of the death from the coronavirus. So I guess there's been controversy online about how it started, and there's a couple different theories going around. The most popular one is this, which I don't.
Oh yeah, remember the bats thing? Wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, that we were sort of right. It is contracted from a bat, but it's not from eating bat soup.
But this was the big thing. That was a huge viral thing. Yeah.
Yeah. There was the meme, the bat soup thing.
I haven't seen this.
Just bring back memories.
This is a video of people recording themselves eating bat soup, where it's a full-on, full cooked bat, but the whole body in a bowl of soup.
Yeah.
So for people just listening, The tweet says, bats are known coronavirus disease spreaders, and in China, you can get a bat soup. So it might be a reason why a new virus comes each time from there.
Now, I don't think that in particular, I'm not sure what how much evidence there is to support that. I feel like it's more of like a social media trend.
Yeah.
Because those videos are just coming up.
Yeah.
I'm sure people walk on that and they walk all over the place and who knows what that,
Yeah, and like they were showing like lots of videos of people not wearing gloves or anything like that, just touching the meat with their hands.
No, just, we put sanitizer, you'd be all right.
I don't know. It just seems like a breeding ground for.
Yeah. Because I mean, when there's dead animals
that is true,
running around and blood and all that shit, I mean, what do you think is going to be attracted to that? Flies and bugs and all this type of all this stuff.
I think the whole bat soup thing became a trend became a trend, but like became like a
meme,
a suspect,
like a meme now too.
Well, it became a suspect in this because bats are known to like carry a lot of diseases.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's funny about all that?
I was even
we were like half right, but it seems like the wet market was like more like a cover, because it did come out that it was from the lab. It was leaked from the lab. So that's a fact now.
Yeah, remember though when that we were saying that and I was like,
it sounded like a conspiracy theory.
What are you gonna say? Just deliberately leaked it out of a lab? What are you, crazy? Yeah. I mean, and to me, back in the time, I'm pretty sure we probably mentioned this probably in later episodes after this, where we were talking, wet market probably does sound like the most.
Yeah, we did do it.
Yeah.
We talked about like, which one sounds more plausible?
Yeah.
And then we read some articles about the supposed lab or whatever, but turns out everything was.
Yeah.
Watching like a video of people eating bats in Malaysia because it's more common there. I don't know if it was Malaysia or Indonesia. Anyway, so there was this like travel vlogger who was trying bat soup, and they were interviewing the person who was making it, and they said like, oh well, sometimes you can get Ebola from eating this.
Ugh.
Damn.
And I was like, all right, that's
crazy.
I don't know if I want to run that.
It's kind of like shark. I think it's shark, where you can get
shark fin.
Yeah, it's like poisonous of some kind.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know if it's shark. I can't remember what. It's some fish.
Blowfish.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Or if you eat it, it's poisonous or something like that.
I don't think I would eat it because of the risk of that too.
Yeah.
But I know that the people who do that in Japan have to be like really well specialized in that area.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it anyway though, because you never know.
Yeah.
But like as far as that goes, that's where the bat soup theory came from, because they also have a lot of exotic animals in the wet market. Like there's pictures of them selling cats.
Oh yeah.
And dogs, and like some animals I've never heard of. I don't know. Yeah. So there's that theory. The other theory about the coronavirus is, did I give you an article about that? I don't know if I did or not.
Are we live streaming?
Just listening here, I think.
What do you mean?
And then the map.
Did we live stream this?
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, the other theory is that there's like a biosafety lab a couple blocks from where that.
No, it was just posted.
Market's
Oh
at.
yeah, okay.
So some people were speculating that possibly the virus, like the SARS virus, had evolved and they put it in there on purpose. But yeah, so
that was right.
Oh
That
yeah.
was right.
Wow.
Anyway.
That's kind of crazy how we, like, even back in the like way early times, a lot of like some of the things that we were kind of reading was like, oh yeah, it's like it evolved to something else, or the bat, and then the bat meme became the viral sensation around this whole thing, as possibly like a cover, like, oh yeah, focus on the meme thing while we everyone's talking about the labs, like.
Okay, this is like way off topic, but
Yeah.
I just keep looking. Your hair looks so good. It's too bad that like after we moved away from Dallas, he had a specific hairdresser, a specific Korean hairdresser.
Yeah.
And now
I do miss that guy.
And now I can't cut your hair the same. Like it looks I'm sorry.
We're gonna move back just so that I can get that hairstyle again.
No, for real though, it looks really good. I can't. I need. What's his name again? It was Min, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Min, we need you to move
to
where we are now. Just move with us everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I just had to point that out.
Still speculation,
You're going
I think.
Conspiracy theory territory now.
Yeah, I know, right? Now we're gonna get banned off of YouTube.
Yeah, I know, right?
That did end up happening.
Yeah. So, but anyway,
we got our video taken down when we were talking about the vaccine.
Oh yeah, well yeah, the vaccine. When the vaccine came out, that was when they were really trying to shut people down for probably
which
more
is
so
hilarious because now the data is coming out and we were right about that too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
like one of the biggest problems with this is that since nobody was quarantined in the beginning,
oh really?
Everybody was allowed to just freely travel out of Wuhan, and I remember Winston or it was either Winston or Matt talking about how like they told them, okay, we're going to quarantine this area, but then they didn't do it for another 8 hours, so everybody just left.
Yeah.
They're like, wait, what? We can just go?
Yeah,
okay.
That's kind of crazy how that works. But yeah, you mentioned something too on that live stream where he said they domesticated. I don't know if and I don't know if this was related to coronavirus or not, but I guess he was kind of just talking about the sanitary and their practices there or whatever, if there are any. I think because he said something about like they domesticate geese or something like that.
Oh, that was talking about how like the plague started.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And now you just reminded me of something. Another thing about why they sell exotic animals in the wet market is because a lot of Chinese traditional medicine, not the herb part, but like the other weird, I don't know, like healing.
A really good way with our words.
Medicinal stuff. I don't know.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Some of them call for like weird parts of random animals.
You're talking about like shamans or something like that, or
no, like
witchcraft,
traditional Chinese medicine. Like that, some of the like superstitious stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I heard.
But see, that's like the one of the things that people were talking about this was, and I think for the most part, it's probably where we kind of were saying about the like the wet markets and the sanitary conditions there, because that was kind of that was one of the big things that they were talking about, was that the reason why this virus is now not just spreading throughout China but also now throughout the world is because it spread out through China because of their sanitary conditions, and then people were going out of China to other countries, and that's why it was spreading, because people had it on them and they were going to other countries. And then
I think now that I think about it, it seems kind of unavoidable because travel through there is so common.
Yeah.
How are they supposed to know to stop that? I don't know. I mean, I guess the government dropped the ball on that, but
yeah.
But like, if you think about it, eventually it would have spread anyway. They can't just quarantine forever.
I don't know. Maybe the virus is going to have some kind of way to get out if it needs to survive somehow. So I need to get the hell out of here.
What is this, The Last of Us?
Yeah. Does it get out? Does it get out? Yeah, but I guess like we were saying about how like it was kind of inevitable or like unavoidable, and how were they going to be able to quarantine everyone? Because like how are you going to know that there's a virus going around? I mean, this is the sad part about it, is that unless people start dying from it, that's the only way people are going to know.
Well, also,
or getting sick from it really bad. It's like, what is going on? Why are people getting sick all of a sudden? It's kind of weird.
China's so like intertwined with global trade and everything. I feel like it would have been impossible to stop everything from coming in and out of China. I don't know.
Another Chinese person talking about how like Bat, like the character for Bat looks the same. You know, I'm not going to talk about it because I don't feel like I'm an expert in this. But yeah, something about how bats are related to
the bat Chinese character is similar to.
Oh, okay.
To what, like
coronavirus?
Wow, how convenient.
So maybe they feel if they eat it, it'll kind of give them good luck or something, or it's kind of like when they like when you I don't know if it's China or not, but like if you eat noodles, it's because they're long. You'll live a long life because you're eating noodles.
Really?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. You didn't know that?
No.
Pretty sure that's a thing. Maybe I just made that up right now.
I just made that up.
Wow.
New tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fact check me on that. Of all the things
but-
to fact check me on if when they eat long noodles, it means you're gonna have a good life, long life.
Is that what they mean by love you long time?
Love you a long time. Here's some noodles.
It's a very long noodle. Anyway.
But now I can't remember. This is like really. I made everything organized before we started,
Mhm.
and then like now
Oh,
it's
yeah,
all
you did.
unorganized because I keep remembering like, oh, in this point.
Well, happens.
Well, anyway, so recently, Lunar New Year happened.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody went traveling back to their hometowns in China,
Yeah.
which is probably why the virus spread like outside of China too, because people were traveling through like airports and train stations.
Yeah.
As
and
we just
then
said.
who knows what happened.
So that probably one of the reasons why it's now in
Well, we
America,
didn't talk
because
about Lunar New Year.
people were
Just kidding.
traveling there and then they came back and they had traces of that virus on them or whatever, and
Yeah,
it spread and
yeah,
yeah.
and I don't know if you want to pull up the map here, but it's
Oh, here we go.
spread to other parts of the world now. So
Yeah, so this is from NBC News. Coronavirus map: a deadly virus is spreading across the world, and here's where cases have been confirmed. So this was a few hours ago. This article, I believe it was, and it said this map will be updated. More information is available as of January 26th. Coronavirus cases were confirmed in China, Thailand, Taiwan, Japan, Singapore, South Korea, Vietnam, the United States, France, Australia, Malaysia, Nepal, and Canada. So and there's the map.
I like how like France is the only country in Europe, and then on this map it looks really sad and alone.
That's kind of weird though. I wonder if it's just at that particular, like those are just the ones that have just been, I guess, confirmed or something. Because I don't know, who knows? Maybe there's other ones in Finland or Spain or something.
Well, I know that they did shut down, like after Wuhan was quarantined, they did shut down like transportation around that area.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I remember Winston was also talking about on the live stream that one of the people who went to France was like bragging about how they got through security with symptoms of the virus.
It's kind of a weird thing though. Yeah, I'm sick and I got through security. What you gonna do about it?
I know.
Right?
I know. People will do anything for social media these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, they wouldn't let anyone travel unless they had a negative test.
Yeah.
And then after that, they wouldn't let anyone travel unless they were vaccinated for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Completely insane.
Yeah, I think like as of now, I think I don't know if it's how many countries, but I'm pretty sure it's like they're laxing on that. Like,
yeah.
with the negative COVID test or whatever, or being vaccinated.
But yeah, I don't know exactly if like where exactly in the US have been confirmed, but I heard suspicions of Houston and California.
Yeah, I know Houston for sure because I saw that on like Facebook or something talking about, or on Twitter I think it was talking about
probably
Houston
alcohol.
But yeah, I think Houston is for
That's
sure
probably
one.
alcohol.
Can't
wait.
remember the other ones were, but
Great.
Yeah.
It's too close to it.
No, I don't think it was alcohol because I swore off alcohol after we got our infertility diagnosis in 2019. So it probably was tea, actually.
Yeah, there you go.
Very wholesome.
And then I don't know if you want to talk about anything else on there. If you want to add anything further.
Well, they are like the CCP, the Chinese government, is not like they are condemning people who are talking freely about this situation. So someone risked.
I like my shirt.
I guess they're kind of risking their life to post this.
Don't remember this shirt.
Yeah.
A citizen of Wuhan posted a video on YouTube, and we will link it in the show notes and the description, where they're talking about what is actually happening.
Yeah.
How do you know?
And I was listening to it, and I'm not really like maybe
So the tweet, I think it's from Melissa Chen. That was the tweeter of this.
Yeah.
The one that we're looking at. It says a self-identified Wuhan local posted an 11-minute clip on the lockdown, which evolved into commentary on the Chinese government's handling of the outbreak and a plea for help. He is risking his freedom just by uploading this to YouTube.
Because I kind of know some of like the backstory on this because I follow a lot of news related to it, but like alternative news related to it. But of course, the government is like downplaying the deaths and everything that's happening in that area.
See, that whole thing doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me why they would do that, because you would think if they cared about their people so much, they would want people to know, or at least have some awareness of, okay, so we need to do in terms of, and this is okay. If we're gonna have a government, wouldn't you think this is their whole priority is to make sure that people are safe or whatever, right? Or something. I don't know.
The problem is their government is, it's like tiers, and who's loyal to who and who's doing a good job or whatever. Right. So those local areas do have incentive to downplay bad effects because it looks bad on them. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's communism or if it's because of Chinese culture or like a mix of the two. Yeah. But that's kind of what's happening.
I have some good points.
Yeah, making some
pretty good talk there. Anyway, what was I going to say? I was going to say something about that too. Oh, yeah. So I heard also in that video he was talking about how the doctors are completely overwhelmed because, there's so many cases coming in. So they don't know what to do.
That happened here.
So they're being overwhelmed, but the government's saying, don't worry about it. It's not a problem. But the doctors are literally...
What they need to do is, flood other doctors from other places into that area and try to... I mean, I know they're building a hospital, but why didn't they do that before? Mm-mm. Like, why was there not already a hospital in place?
I mean, if it's like such a super quick thing, like they have to do it right there and then, obviously you can't just build a fucking hospital out of thin air, You're going to have to, have medical tents or something. I don't know. Something. You got to have something to help these people.
Yeah, most of them are just going, being sent home to die.
Sounds very naive.
Yeah.
Or,
you gotta do something,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, the way we handled it here wasn't much better.
Yeah.
And then to make it worse, then after we were overwhelmed for a year and a half, then they made it so that you have to be vaccinated in order to work at the hospital, and then people quit, and then now we're short-staffed everywhere, and still...
And that's probably why they felt overwhelmed too during that time, because some people didn't want to get vaccinated because they felt they didn't...
Well, they didn't have a vaccine at that time.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like later
here?
on. Yeah, like later on in the future or whatever. Yeah.
Well, he was talking about how medical students there are overwhelmed trying to help. But they don't know what to do. So.
And
then they send people home, and then those people infect their family, and And
that's the sad thing about it, So I don't know. It's a crazy thing that's happening with the whole coronavirus, and it's funny because I feel like stuff like this, like with this, SARS that happened, which I think also came from China. I'm pretty sure.
This is in 2003, but I was too young to remember.
And then swine flu, avian flu. It's just man, what is with these fucking?
Well, that's why the wet market theory makes most sense. Yeah.
Wet market theory makes the most sense.
Naive.
Everything all wet and shit.
Even when I was in Thailand, the wet markets there are more sanitary than what they described.
Wow. That's kind of crazy.
That's where that ended?
Yeah. Well, because after that, we stopped talking about...
Oh, is that like a clip?
Yeah, that was a clip, because then the rest of it was about something else completely different.
I don't know if it's our lighting or something, but we look aged.
I know. It's crazy. We're like, man, we look so young back then. It was only 3 years. It just feels like 10 years, right? It feels like 10, 15 years.
I think part of it is our lighting, because we don't have any overhead lighting.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But also probably
the lighting over there was definitely different.
Yeah, but also maybe because we became parents in the last 2 years, and now we're tired and sleep deprived.
But that is kind of crazy that the last thing that we were talking about was how the wet market theory makes the most sense about why this came about.
Mean, it does.
Yeah, when you think about it in those terms and in that at that time, it does make sense because I mean, when you're not living in sanitary conditions, that things are gonna happen. That's not gonna you're not gonna be healthy living in that type of environment. You know, things are gonna happen. Viruses are probably gonna come out, bacteria and all this stuff. So yeah, it makes sense. But of course, now we know that it wasn't even in those areas that they're talking about with the wet markets. I don't think it was talking about. They were like now it's like it's basically a fact that it was the lab leak. Like it was from a lab.
Yeah. And also there was all that suspicious stuff going on with the people disappearing and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
But again, we like how do we get, unless you really like dig deep into it, when you just look at it from the surface, you're just like
we didn't have the information at the time.
Yeah.
Either. This took almost a year to confirm, which was part of the reason why there was all this, you know, like, oh, don't be a conspiracy theorist.
And they probably knew that information before. They're like, oh, fuck.
Well, yeah.
Especially with
they knew it in 2019.
Yeah. Well, with Anthony Fauci doing all that, was it the type of research he was doing?
Actually,
I can't remember what it's called.
That lab was doing the research for them, which is
gain of function. What is it? Is that what it's called? Gain of function
remember.
Or something like that? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what it was.
Still have bang problems. I don't know if you saw that in the video.
I don't even remember when he was assigned on that. Like that whole thing when like
I mean like when the government was like we need a head doctor.
Yeah, when the American government was all like,
that was
shit, we gotta do something about this.
That was like around I don't know, like May. It was after we were locked down. I know that.
I just saw a video too where they're talking about this, where they're saying, you know, don't forget these people did this because like Donald Trump's sitting there or standing there and you know they're all talking about, yeah, Anthony Fauci came up and he was like, yeah, anyone like any type of environment that like restaurants or anything, anything where people gather, they should be shut down. Like just like, oh yeah, I guess we gotta shut these things down. No, nobody can go out and do things, you know?
Yeah. It is weird how people are kind of just forgetting the last 2 years happened. Like,
well, I guess I guess it depends on who you are. But there's some people who are like, I'm not gonna. I mean, there's people who used to be like big Trump fans, and when all that's happened, are like, oh, I can trust this guy now. I can't trust him. I don't even like he's possibly most likely gonna run again in 2020. He's probably gonna run in 2024, and they're like, fuck that. Like,
I don't think he's gonna. Yeah, that's not gonna.
But I mean, you never know. I mean,
that would be hilarious.
He has enough of a fan base for it. Honestly, it would be funny if he did win, but at the same time, it's kind of like, oh wait, you're saying you're gonna do this stuff now? Oh, yeah. What were you the last time? I guess maybe now you have more of an incentive because after this, like that's it.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I guess like we don't know how much he knew at the time either. Like how the heck do you decide how to handle that? And also a lot of the stuff that happened, especially with the lockdowns, was on the local level or the state level. Because that was one of the things that I think that a lot of people learned was after the lockdowns, it really matters what state you live in. Like it. Like it's before that, it was kind of like, you know, we're all in the United States. I mean, obviously there's different markets and stuff like that for like housing and economy and jobs and all that. But it really matters when there's like some type of emergency like that, what government you are under locally, because
or even as who your state governor is. You know?
Yeah, but even like we were locked down in Texas, but our area of Texas that we were in DFW, they stopped caring around like the end of May or June, and they were just like
there were some areas and some businesses where they were like really, hey, you can't come in here without. But yeah, there's a lot where they're just like, if you wear a mask, it's fine. If not, then
whatever.
Whatever.
And then when we moved to El Paso for a little bit, then they were really, really weird about it.
It was different there. It was almost like you weren't even in Texas anymore.
It was basically like New Mexico.
Yeah, New Mexico.
And everybody was very, very weird about like if you didn't wear a mask, like we're gonna call the cops because you almost.
Oh yeah.
You almost got the cops called on you.
Yeah,
yeah.
Good times.
But yeah, I just wanted to point that out that after the lockdowns happened, it didn't really matter who was president, really. It was like more of what your local government was doing about it.
I mean, the president would have the power because he would probably have the power to be like,
probably, but don't you think that you don't think that governors would push back on certain things?
Well, it would depend. It would depend on what he was going to do. If he was going to be like, no lockdowns whatsoever, I'm sure there's some crazy ass governors who are like, wait,
you mean the one that's from Michigan? I forget her name.
Well, any of the ones that are like that, they're just like, no, we're going to lock down because
California,
because we feel like that's the best thing for our citizens, even though I personally think that's stupid.
See, if it was like, so this is going to be kind of weird to say it maybe, but like if it was like, like the Last of Us type of virus, like that kind of thing, or I guess that's not a virus.
Well, people's faces turn into freaking flowers.
Like it's like apocalyptic, actually like people dying within 24 hours, but, that kind of stuff. Maybe a lockdown makes sense in that case because it's like, it's either everybody dies in 24 hours or we ruin our economy. But for what COVID actually ended up being, it was kind of stupid to ruin our whole economy.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't know that at the time. I don't know. It's just weird.
I don't know. Some people saw right through it pretty early on. Like going back to how this whole reason why we're even doing this episode is because that Pete Quinones tweet. Yeah. He was one of the first people, probably the first person where he was like, no, this is going to completely change the culture of the entire world. Yeah. And especially in America because we live in America.
Another person, I think another person who was really like, I guess, right about it from the beginning was probably Clint from Liberty Lockdown, which is funny because his podcast started. Yeah,
he started
because of that.
Yeah. So. You're welcome, Clint. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow. What, you think that if without the lockdowns, he wouldn't be where he was, huh? So he has to thank coronavirus?
That'd be funny. He's like, you know what? I'm going to say one thing about coronavirus. If it wasn't for the coronavirus,
I wouldn't have this, I would have started this lucrative podcast.
I would have still been doing what I was doing before this. Anyway, all joking aside. So yeah, that was an interesting trip down memory lane, trying to see where we were.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, we were like, to kind of recap, we were talking about the wet markets and how
it was a lot of speculation.
Yeah. We thought it was the most logical theory. Oh, yeah, that makes the most sense. And of course, now, I mean, hindsight is 2020, so obviously we know now a lot more.
Hindsight is 2020.
Whatever. What?
Because it was in 2020.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's wow. Okay, so we'll go and end it there. Yeah, let us know what you think and how did the whole lockdown thing change your life? And I mean, I'm sure it changed a lot of people's lives.
Did it ruin your life? Yeah. Did it make it better? Did it not change it? The
lockdowns. Let me tell you why the lockdowns made my life a whole lot better. I actually got way richer because of this.
No, there was an article about that. It was like a couple months or maybe a couple years.
And this is something like along the lines of, hey, lockdowns were actually good for us or something like that. Okay.
It was the gist of it was like, now I don't have to talk to people and I can stay in my house. It's like you could have done
You're probably doing that before. Like you just, I'm an introvert, and because of lockdowns, I'm even more of an introvert. Oh, cool. Good for you.
I mean, that's me.
Good job.
But yeah.
All right. So please, if you want to support us and go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and especially go follow our Odyssey channel and subscribe to our BitChute channel, and follow us on social media over on Twitter at the Hapatarian and at Petite Nikoko.
And I have one more thing to say.
Okay.
The shirt is made by Bernadine Bluntly. Well, I guess she just goes by Fearless Femininity or something like that on Instagram now. But yeah. And just shout out to Bernadine.
All right. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, shout out to Pete, and shout out to Matt and Winston, because they were the reason we even started. We even talked about this in the first place way back then.
Yeah, because we were religiously following that podcast at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. All right.
Have a good one.